what you want to say, baby. When you're alone in the darkest night, maybe you can't give your radio back. Open your heart and show your eyes that your destiny. And cry out loud, baby. The future is waiting for you. And show your eyes that your destiny. What you want to say, baby, when you're alone in the darkest night, maybe you can't give your radio back. Open your heart. what you want to say, baby, when you're alone in the darkest night. Maybe you can give your radio back. Open your heart and show your eyes and change your destiny. And grow your love, baby. The future is waiting for you. And show your eyes what you want to say, baby. When you're alone in the darkest night, maybe you can't give your radio back. Open your heart and show your eyes that you're destiny. And grow your love, baby. The future is waiting for you. And show your eyes that you're destiny. What you want to say, baby, when you're alone in the darkest night, maybe you can't give your radio back. Open your heart.
my god. Oh, testing, testing. Yeah, you can hear me. You can hear me, right? This microphone. Okay, so I kind of got it fixed though. I can hear myself, right? That's what I was dealing with when we... What is going on with this? Why don't it just like stick in the thumbnail? Anyway, we got too much going on the screen. How do you like it though? How do you like the background? I feel like it's not flashing, so, you know, if it's bothering anybody, I don't know, like, if anybody's got sensitivity to flashing lights, like, I guess they're kind of blinking a little bit, but it doesn't seem like it would be, like, that kind of rapid flash that would really mess things up. But, yeah, we got some messed up things to go over today. Russel Brand, who, you know, this was apparently kind of an open secret. People have known about this for a while in the industry, to the point where, you know, one of the victims, when they were driven over to a cab, the cab driver tried to warn them. The cab driver was like, I recognize this house, please don't go in. So this is scary stuff. It's not, you know, there's not a lot of humor to be found in it. And then we also have to go over the latest iIluminaughtii stuff. This is like, as a lot of people suspected, there actually was a relationship between iIluminaughtii and Oz Media, and I'm not sure I understand what's going on with their finances. It's some kind of situation where I think that Blair had bad credit and Oz didn't have any money, so Blair was like, hey, we'll just put it in your name, right? And then... And like, yeah, there's all kinds of stuff going on with like Blair's lawyer and Oz and signing, you know, promises to pay. But the TLDR is that Oz's place to live, Oz's house is dependent on iIluminaughtii now, and obviously there's no good feelings between the two of them. So we'll look into that too. And then we also got a positive story, right? One of the major unions in the United States has decided to go on strike, has decided that the deal that they were being offered by the auto workers was not good enough, and they're standing up. Workers are standing up. It has been a hot labor summer, and it's going to be a hot labor fall, and yeah, this is in the face of that guy that said they needed to crack the whip on workers, right? Said that like workers were needed to have fear put into them, and they need to realize who the boss is and who the worker is, and you know, stop being as lazy as they've been since COVID, right? This is the answer. This is how labor answers. So finally catching a stream. Well, good to have you, Yasmin Flower. Vice tries to expose him too, but they got injunction. Huh, interesting. Well, there's a few of these, like... I don't even know which one of these come... I think this is the one that's first, right? Something is wrong with my audio and I'm hard to understand. Really? That's not good. Okay, anybody else getting that? That's important feedback. If there's ever something wrong with the audio or video or anything, really bad echo, interesting. It's good on Twitch, so it's only on YouTube. There's no echo. Like, you mean an echo of my voice here? Let's turn off the music and see if that's somehow causing problems, because I do have, look, I got a microphone that I've had for years and years and years, and it's kind of on its last legs. I don't really want to replace it though until I upgrade to an SM7B, but that is like, I don't know, $600 away. Audio is good. Okay, so Grasshopper, try refreshing. I don't know if that'll help, but sometimes refreshing, hitting F5, sometimes that helps. But everybody else is cool with the audio? Yeah, and like, look, at some point we're gonna have to talk about what's going on with Hassan right now. If you don't know, Hassan is on a show called Leftovers with Ethan of H3, and sometimes they have little debates because that's one thing that they sort of aren't on the same. They aren't like on the same page as far as politics. Like Ethan is more of a social democrat. Hassan obviously is more of a socialist. Oh, it worked. Nice, nice. I'm glad we could get that fixed because that's really annoying when you're trying to listen to a stream, but it's bad audio. Bad audio is like, look, people can get over like bad video if my video quality isn't great. It's like, okay, it is what it is, but bad audio is just hard to even listen to. So anyway, yeah, Ethan and Hassan, I mean, you've seen this before, right? When Hassan had the whole thing, um, when people were talking about reaction streamers, and mostly people were mad at XQC. Ethan kind of went hard on Hassan, right? So we've seen that before. There's also, I never showed you this, but they argued a little bit about capitalism, right? And it's mostly Ethan wanting to do it because I think Hassan knows that they don't totally agree, and he's trying to kind of like avoid those issues. Oh, by the way, Jules, thank you so much for the resubscribe. 26 months, wow. Meow. I wanted to say wow, and I want to say meow, and it just kind of came out meow. I don't know what that is, but it's a syllable, I guess. So yeah. So because of that, right. Most recently, they talked about Taiwan, and Taiwan has an interesting story. If you don't know, right? Taiwan is Taiwan, not China, because of because during the revolution there were two sides that were fighting, and the side that lost went to Taiwan, kicked out the people living there, and claimed that we are the Chinese government, we are China, and the rest of China is ours. And the communist government was like, no, we are China, and that island is ours, right? So I mean, it's a weird situation, and they're kind of at I guess at equilibrium now, where if Taiwan doesn't make a big deal about like we are independent, then China isn't going to try to force the issue of bringing them officially into China or invading Taiwan. So it's a weird thing. Even the US government talks, when they talk about Taiwan, they're very careful about how they word that, right? And it's because of the whole situation, the delicate diplomatic situation between Taiwan and China. And listen, if something went on with Taiwan, it would probably cause a major war, right? If China ever invaded Taiwan, the U.S. Might defend Taiwan, and that a war between the U.S. and China is not something that's in anybody's interest. So anyway, Hassan was a little bit careful in the way that he described it, and now you've got the White Leaf Network calling Hassan a tanky. Hassan is a tanky. Yeah, that's right. If everybody's a tanky, then nobody's a tanky, right? I don't know. I feel like they don't know what that word means, but that's what they're saying right now. So we're gonna have to get into that tomorrow. I think that's when we'll do it. I think we got too much on the plate today to get into much of that. But yeah, as always, the sub goal is one way you can extend the stream, and I will get to as much content as I can. If people really want to hear about the Hassan situation, because I feel like it might have actually take more than a day. There's there's a whole history of debates between Hassan and Ethan, and now Vosh has weighed in, and now Keffels has weighed in, and remember Keffels community has a certain person that likes to call me a tanky too, or I'm not sure if I was a tanky or I was a fake tanky. Yeah, I think I was like, yeah, she's calling me a tanky, and then she came over and she's like, actually, you're a fake tanky. Well, look, okay, which is it? Am I a fake tanky? Am I a real tanky? What kind of tanky am I? Seriously. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, Keffel's community, I mean, the people that are left are, they're the stands, I guess. That's the best way to say it. So they're eating right out of Keffel's hand. So whatever she says about Hassan, I guess, is true if you're a diehard Keffels fan. You've seen H3 quoted recently. Yeah, well, it's gotten ugly too, because like when they talked about social democracy, versus communism versus socialism. Ethan got kind of defensive. Oh yeah, there was also a conversation between Ethan and Dan that Hassan ended up reacting to. So there's a lot to watch there. So I wouldn't mind if we do get the sub goal to 10. I might get into a little bit of that today. So that's the special bonus if we get to it, because there's so much to get into before we can even make heads or tails. And like I said, it's a complicated situation. It's about geopolitics, which is always complicated, and there's a lot of sides to that. But yeah, Ethan was getting lit up for being a sockdom by some of Hassan's fans apparently, and now Quartering is trying to provoke Ethan. Let's get into this. Let's see what's going on with Russel Brand.
Allegations of rape and sexual assault. A word of warning. This episode contains detailed allegations of rape and sexual assault.
Definitely content warning. I mean, you probably figured that already, given that Russel Brand is on the thumbnail. But yeah, we're talking about some really traumatizing, testimony from the victims here. So if that's not something that you can handle, always understand that you don't need my permission to be able to, if this is not for you, this is not for you. I won't won't be upset if you self-care is important. That's what I'm saying. And it's not easy for me to I don't know, that's not easy for me to hear this stuff either. But
you're listening to BBC Radio 2. It's the Russel Brand Show, and here...
You know what? This is like a podcast. I didn't realize this.
...is your host, I am...
Russel Brand burst onto the scene in the early noughties as a presenter...
The noughties? I mean, I want to call it the naughties. One in chat if you call it the naughties. Do you call it the naughties? The zero zeros?
Comedian, actor, and wild-haired Lothario, who was suddenly everywhere.
Yeah, he's definitely an oi bruv.
On TV and radio, with his own brand of comedy that often pushed the limits.
It is my humble view that there ain't a single sexual act that ain't enhanced by spitting. There's literally...
Look, no, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have reacted like that because, I'm not judging anybody for their kinks, right? So some people are into that. And that is fine. I'm wincing because that's going to come back up, right? That's going to come back up. That particular act is gonna, and it's great when it's consensual, if you're whatever you're into, right, enjoy it. But yeah, if you're not looking for that,
no joke there. That is just...
You call them the odds.
Sex tip.
I feel like we should call them the naughties. Is this a British thing? Is this an oi bruv British thing? You know what? I'm tempted to
that exclusive investigation.
Maybe this is
I've been waiting since I was 16 for it to hit the papers or for it to be on the news that he's been arrested or that somebody's reported him and it's stopped the abuse.
That exclusive investigation by the Sunday Times, the Times and Channel 4 Dispatch.
Okay, so if you don't know, that is the youngest victim. Apparently, she was 16 at the time.
Which is accusing the comedian Russel Brand of rape, sexual assault and abuse. He is accused of the rape of one woman as well as the sexual assault of a 16-year-old girl, both of whom he was in a relationship with at the time. Last night, as many of you will have seen, Russel Brand posted a video denying what he called very serious allegations and said all his relationships have been consensual.
So the reason that we're kind of leading with that is this. This was an investigation by multiple news outlets when they were going to release the story, there's a customary thing you do. If you're accusing somebody of doing something, you contact them and you say, hey, we've got this we've got this story. We're going to run it. And do you have any comment? Is there anything that you'd like to say? Is there any additional information you'd like to provide, right? It's a courtesy, it is, a journalistic convention. It's just kind of what you do. And they contacted him, and instead of offering a comment, he went on to his YouTube channel and he said, yeah, they've got it in for me. It's coming down the Matrix. The Matrix is coming to get me. I've never done anything wrong. All of my relationships have been consensual. But it's the media, the machine. Like, right, he's priming his audience to be like, he's doing the Andrew Tate. He's doing the Andrew Tate, right? Andrew Tate, like, if you don't know, literally talked about some of the things that he talked about on the internet sound like crimes, like, right? Or basically read like admissions of some of the charges, right? And he still wants to claim, like, no, it's the Matrix. I didn't do anything wrong. Like, it's totally okay to, like, con women into working for you using the boyfriend method, right? Which is, it sounds like sex trafficking, right? It's Russell Brand. It sounds like he's taking a page from the Andrew Tate / Donald Trump playbook, and this is just, unfortunately, the new media reality. I was talking about stands earlier, Keffel stands, right? When you got somebody as big as Russell Brand, like, it's almost impossible to convince people like that of things that their parasocial object of affection doesn't want them to know about.
The full story has just been published on the Sunday Times website, where you can read it now at thetimes.co.uk. Now, the paper has been working on this investigation for many months alongside the Times newspaper and Channel 4. And one of the Sunday Times reporters who's written the story, Charlotte Wace, joins me now. Charlotte, thanks very much for joining us. Now, listeners, I just want to alert you that some of what we're about to discuss may be upsetting. Now, one of the women you are calling Nadia, she alleges that she was raped. Charlotte, tell us.
So some of the weirdness with names is that these people don't want to come forward, at least yet, with their names, because you can imagine what would happen with a giant audience like Russell Brand's. If you don't know, Russell Brand on social media as a right-wing YouTube conspiracy creator, which is what he is, right? He's got millions of subs.
What she's been seeing.
So Nadia alleges that Brand raped her at his Los Angeles home in 2012. She was treated at a rape crisis centre on the same day, according to medical records. Text messages show that in the hours after leaving his house, she told Brand that she had been scared by him and felt taken advantage of, adding, when a girl says no, it means no. Brand replied saying he was very sorry.
Okay, so that's like text evidence right there, it sounds like.
And
So one of the things that, you do when you're going to come forward with stuff like this, because obviously, or very likely, you're going to get attacked. You're going to get called a liar. They're going to say that you're making up fake allegations. So, having details that confirm this, like texts, like, she texted Russell Brand about this and he said, I'm sorry, which, right, that's
here's some of what Nadia had to say.
July 1st,
6.6 million subs. That's worse than I thought.
2012 was when my rape happened.
Yeah, he's been very popular for years, since the 90s. Yeah, he was like a stand-up comedian, and then he was on, was he on like a reality show or something? And then he was did movies, and then got into conspiracy theories. As far as his politics, he used to be more left-wing, but he's one of these people that have found a lot of money in diving into that right-wing conspiracy YouTube. It was Big Brother. Okay. Yeah, he was married to Katy Perry. Yeah, I mean, like, unfortunately, I've seen a decent number of his movies. Yeah, I had one of my exes was really into Get Him to the Greek, which after the whole Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing, I would be terrified to date. Oh my God, yeah, yeah, yeah. I would be terrified to date a celebrity. Yeah, yeah, I can. Yeah, God. My first exposure to Russell Brand was, I think that he dated, yeah, that he dated Katy Perry.
I was out late and he happened to call me and say, I've had a really bad day. Please come over. And at first I said, no, I'm not going. It's late. And he's like, please come. Just come and cuddle with me.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about Jonah Hill.
Then I gave in and I'm like, okay. The door was unlocked. I just walked into his place. He comes running out of the bedroom naked. He came at me with kisses and stuff, which was kind of fun. And then it wasn't that fun when I couldn't move. I knew what he wanted from me at that point. He pushed me up against the wall. I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, I have a friend here and I want you to come into the bedroom. I'm like, no, that's not happening. We're not doing that. And I tried to get away from him. My bag got actually stuck underneath a huge painting. And it's still on my arm. And at this point, he's grabbing at my underwear, pulling it to the side. I'm telling him to get off me, and he won't get off.
Now, one of the women was 16 when she encountered Brand. What does she claim happened?
She claims that he referred to her as the child during an emotionally and abusive and controlling relationship that lasted for about 3 months, and that Brand once forced his penis down her throat, making her choke. She says she tried to push him or punch him in the stomach to make him stop.
Now, this is part of what she told us.
I think he was very skillful in the start from making his identity be, I'm the womanizer, I'm a sex addict, I'm inappropriate, but it's all just a joke, it's funny. It's, it's a smokescreen for a lot more of his dark behavior.
I mean, that's pretty much his comedy act, right? That was his public persona. And like that... Look, I mean, like, comedy is almost always inappropriate. The world of comedy, you're expected to say things that are just, like, not right in any other context. But the idea that this wasn't just a joke, this wasn't just a persona that he adopted, but that, like, this makes all of the jokes that he told, like, so much darker.
Yeah. I've been waiting since I was 16 for it to hit the papers or for it to be on the news that he's been arrested or that somebody's reported him and it's stopped the abuse.
Charlotte, tell us about the other women and the pattern of behaviour it's alleged this fits into.
So a third woman claims that he sexually assaulted her while she worked for him in Los Angeles, and that he threatened to take legal action if she told anyone else about her allegation. A fourth described being sexually assaulted by Brand, and others have made a range of accusations about Brand's controlling, abusive and predatory behaviour.
And what has been the response from Russel Brand himself?
So on Friday, he released a video and he denied serious criminal allegations he said were going to be made against him. He said he'd received letters from a TV company and...
A couple of years ago, someone made a post on Reddit where they predicted that his right-wing pivot was because he knew allegations like this would come out, and he wanted to call it a witch hunt. I mean, that's entirely plausible. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's hard to tell because, like, there is money there. We found out about like Jimmy Dore possibly, and some of the people that supported Jimmy Dore getting paid by someone that was interested in promoting anti-vaccine, type of content. So, I mean, there is a lot of money there. It is like this is like the Trump economy. I mean, I guess that's what I can call it, the Trump economy. It's like this weird little demographic of people that will buy anything, will believe anything, as long as you're loyal to the people that they're loyal to. So if you like Donald Trump, if you like Joe Rogan, you know what I mean? All these people that are kind of connected in the same like weird right-wing echo chamber, right? As long as you're loyal to all of those people, you're good. And you can scam them and you can lie. Trump has been scamming people for a really long time, right? Trump University, like a lot of what he does is just scams people. So people realize that if you can break into the Trump demographic, this is like a really easy audience to convince people of anything. And whether what you're trying to convince them is, don't believe your lying eyes, I'm innocent, right? Which Trump's got them believing. Don't believe the recording of me talking about doing essay to women because I'm rich and I can do that, right? This audience, I guess I gotta say they're suckers.
This our newspaper, and he said, amidst this litany of astonishing, rather baroque attacks are some very serious allegations.
Does anybody understand the use of baroque there? I'm not British. I'm not. What does baroque mean in this context? Anybody? Any guesses?
That I absolutely refute. And he said that all of the relationships he had were absolutely always...
Is he saying it was a long time ago?
...consensual.
Well, Charlotte, thank you so much for your time. This is a big story you've been working on, and we're grateful for you coming into the studio. Now, you can read more on that exclusive investigation now on the Sunday Times website at thetimes.co.uk, or you can pick up a copy of tomorrow's paper. And at 9 o'clock this evening, we're releasing a special edition of our stories of our time. That's our podcast. Now, it includes Ros Irwin and Charlotte, who we've just been speaking to, and they're going to be talking about what they've found, plus more from the two women who tell their story. You can get that by going to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast from.
So it's not necessarily like a British saying.
Just search for
like Baroque, like the time period, like the musical.
Stories of our time.
A word of warning. This episode can...
I don't know how to handle this, chat, because like I felt like I have to cover these two things now. But I don't exactly want to play Minecraft. Well, like this is Times Radio, right? So this is just like a podcast. There's no visual for this, and usually when there's no visual, I like to give you a visual by playing some video games or something like that. And Merriam-Webster says, defined by grotesqueness, extravagance, complexity, and flamboyance. So he's saying this is the guy that makes his bread and butter is conspiracy theories. He wants to talk about something being baroque, whatever you want to say, right? Grotesque, yes. Extravagant, yes. Complex and flamboyant, yes. This is your content, Russell. Oh my God, there's so much Garfield here.
Contains detailed allegations of rape and sexual assault.
Maybe Maybe we could switch back and forth. Neither of these are great stories, right? But I don't know if I can take the deep dive into what happened with Russel Brand right now. Let's switch over to Oz Media. This is Oz Media talking about his experience with iLluminaughtii, and apparently, like I said, they were in a relationship together, and it sounds like really messy, and now he's in a bind where she actually has kind of control over his living situation. And he's muted.
Flesh. No. Howdy everyone, I'm Oz, in the flesh. No cartoon avatar this time. I'm making this because I'm giving an update to both my regular viewers and those who are here for something a bit more specific. To my regular viewers first, I hope this video can help explain where I've been over the last 3 years. For those who are here for the iLluminaughtii drama, I do have some news, and I'm making this video for full transparency, as I believe this is important in a situation like this. First and foremost, I need to make everyone aware, for reasons that I hope this update will make clear, for my safety, I need to put a short and temporary pause on production of my video on iLluminaughtii. The video will still of course be produced. I just need to put things on a lower burn and return to regular content for the time being, for many reasons. Some of them being the honest truth that I can't afford to continue at this rate, both fiscally and physically. iLluminaughtii has taken this to a legal front, using the courts because of how poorly things went for her on the internet. As a reminder, for those of you unaware, iLluminaughtii...
So I'm not going to do any fancy pivot. I'm not going to do any Baroque pivot this time, but I will let you know that we're 5 minutes away from the ad break on Twitch. If you're on Twitch, that means if you don't have an avatar by your name and you don't have a sub, you might be pulled out of stream for a minute and a half and have to watch an ad. If you don't want to watch an ad, there is you could, if you have Amazon Prime, you can get a free sub through a Twitch Prime. If you want to buy a sub right now during this month, it is September, 25% off all subs. And there's also a chance that you could get one through a gift sub. It's going to happen more likely, though, if you're active in chat.
Started a fight with a lawyer on...
People are still releasing iLluminaughtii videos. Well, this is like I haven't covered iLluminaughtii since, I think we covered the clicks video, right? That's the and you know, stuff has been going on and everything since then, and I haven't really covered it. I'm covering it now though, because this is kind of a new thing. This is like a whole nother dynamic that's going on that it's kind of pertinent to like Oz and iLluminaughtii, both in terms of you know, we're finding out that they were in a relationship, and we are finding out that they are still kind of financially bound together in a way that it sounds like it's making it hard for Oz to you know, move on, you know, given the legal threats, which, I mean, that's basically what's been going on since we last covered the click thing, is that there's been legal threats from iLluminaughtii's lawyers, and but this is kind of a whole new thing. This isn't just like a, hey, did you know that iLluminaughtii did some bad things? Like, right? Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to cover this story too much. I just thought that there was a new twist in what's going on, and that it made sense to cover this. Yeah, this is her ex, who she might, take to court, right? And you're going to find out why they signed an agreement while they were together, and it makes it so that he's actually on the line for like a huge debt, like a large amount of money, to make some pretty hefty payments to iLluminaughtii every month, and that if he misses the payments, then, you know, she has the right to kick him out of the house. So, God.
Twitter accused him of copying her style, which then led to other content creators and past collaborators speaking out about their past interactions.
So we all know this. This is, Wonder Click and One Topic, former members of Sad Milk.
With her. iLluminaughtii, is the one who took this off of Twitter and brought it onto YouTube, where she would then post a suicide note of one of her former employees for the world to see as an attempted own. Now, full transparency, I was one of the creators who spoke out against her, despite the fears and hesitations that I had. I've put a lot of things in my life on hold to produce this video, ending up with nearly 110 pages of a manuscript which details as much of what I can. And let me tell you something, converting this monstrosity into a video with its accompanying 5,000 screenshots has been one something. Converting this
Okay, so that, if you don't know, that's Premiere Pro, I think. This is, I almost want to show you, I almost want to show you one of my DaVinci files. I'm afraid, though, if I open up DaVinci, my computer will crash because it's a lot to run. But yeah, basically, this is just a long video with a lot going on here. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 video tracks. 1, 2, 3, 4, no, 3 audio tracks, it looks like. And yeah, a lot of like, you know, scenes in here. It's actually kind of zoomed out, right, for you to be able to see this. But if we zoomed in, we'd find out that this is, you know, this is a lot.
Monstrosity into a video with its accompanying 5,000 screenshots has been one hell of a monumental
5,000 is a weird, you could just say 500, but whatever.
Task for me, a one-person team to embark on. I want to get everything right, or more of I need to, and I need to ensure that everyone's stories are factual. But to do so, I need to pump the brakes and not rush this out for the sake of being able to not stress about my next meal, or my next bill for that matter. Because of this, I need to. And
I can kind of relate to this, you know, when I've gotten involved in like back and forths with other creators, it kind of fills up your, so like, right, you know how I put out a video? I try to put out a video at least once a week. I'd like to be able to put out 3 videos or more a week, or like have a video go out every day that I'm not streaming, but I can only get so much done. But so however, whatever your video rate of video production is, which is going to be like less if you're a streamer or if you're working, you know, you're otherwise occupied, it's going to get like, basically this kind of stuff is like, if you've got a hose and you're spraying water and then there's like a big chunk of something in the hose, right? And it's just like glorp, 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 glorp. And you're like, okay, I need to water the plants, but I got to get all this glorp out first, right? Because you've only got like, so your hose is only spraying so much. And the glorp is like huge. It's a lot. Like, you know, with the Dylan thing, you know, there was the video that I did where I was criticizing the way that he let the transphobe Gish gallop. That prompted him to challenge me to a debate. We did the debate. So, you know, 2 videos, right? And then he came into chat to yell at me, right? 3 videos right there. And everyone's like, why are you doing all these videos on Dylan? I'm like, if I could, I mean, there are 2 videos that came about exclusively because of his actions, not mine. And in order to kind of get my story told against his giant platform and his presence on Reddit and everywhere else, right? Like, so, I mean, I can kind of relate to this, like having to make videos that are not your usual content. They're not really scratching that itch for people. That's not what people come to my channel for. It's not the, you know, Dylan Burns Sucks channel, but like for a little while, it kind of has to become that. And, you know, people, A, don't understand that, B, they're not here for that, and C, what about your other videos? Like, what about, you know, like all the stuff that's not coming out while you're dealing with the drama? So yeah, this is a lot.
more importantly, I want to continue my regular content so I can afford to live day to day. There is another factor to all of this, a factor which iIluminaughtii has caused, or as I will be calling her throughout this video, Blair. For full transparency, which will be explored more in my future video, Blair and I dated. We were a couple for a decent chunk of time. This puts me in an ungodly complicated situation of doing everything that I can to try and separate the relationship drama from the public drama, as in the process of dating her, there are a lot of things which I bore witness to. Before anything else, I want to firmly state that this update is being made with the understanding that there is a likelihood that this will end up in a courtroom. I say this because things have been escalating quite a bit behind the scenes, and the stress has certainly been rising. What I can only describe as retaliation from the person who's my ex, former employer, and prior colleague, Blair is in the process of currently foreclosing my home because of this stress of Blair taking my home from me. I need to pump the brakes and change directions so I won't be homeless come Christmas, because that's when Blair set my home to foreclose, right before Christmas. And yes, Blair has the power to set the foreclosure sale. This situation was a fear and hesitation that I had from the beginning, even telling Wonder as far back as April, a day before my thread went up, that I was mortified that if I spoke out against Blair or even dared to cross her, that she would retaliate with taking my home from me. When I did speak out, as many of you are aware, Blair sent me a cease and desist. A cease and desist, by the way, over a Twitter thread which she apologized for not only in her video, but as well as privately. Despite this, I persisted on working on my video, continuing the production of something which started as 20 pages, then slowly grew into the novel that it's become.
Yeah, so if you don't remember from Blair's video, what Oz is talking about is that there were 3 people that Blair addressed in that video, 3 members of Sad Milk. I think, well, actually 4, counting one topic at a time. But one topic at a time left the group first, right? And then there's there's like Click, Wonder, I always want to say Wonder of You, Wonderstruck, and Oz Media that Blair mainly talked about in that video. With the Click, the point of it was like, actually Click said some really yikes stuff, and that's why I had a problem with Click. So it was, like, Click is bad. Wonderstruck, that was where the suicide note was displayed, and a lot of Wonder's like personal mental health issues were delved into. But with Oz Media, there was apology and a little bit of a contrition, but also a statement of well, if you're willing to make these allegations against me, I guess we can't. I wanted to be friends, but I guess we can't be friends anymore. So of all those 3 people, Oz Media was the one that Blair was a little bit apologetic towards, and so that's what he's talking about here.
This entire process, I had the fear that once I released this video, Blair would drop the hammer on me. I've lived the last 4 months of my life with the looming threat of Blair's retaliation, and truth being, from my understanding, she could have done this as early as June. As to why Blair waited so long, I'm honestly unsure. To me, it feels like Blair is taking every course of action that she can to prevent this video from being produced, from legal threats to trying to take my home, which wouldn't be surprising, considering Blair's alleged white-collar crimes I intend to expose with evidence within my video. Before any of this, however,
Okay, so it sounds like there's a lot more to come out that Oz is going to talk about in that video.
I am taking the proper legal channels and speaking with the right people to elevate this down the needed path. Because of this, it would be unwise of me to reveal further information. I can only assume this is one of the reasons Blair is so determined to shut down my video's production. And to repeat myself from earlier, every word that I speak within this update is with the explicit understanding that this video may end up on the floor of a courtroom. In order for me to fight this, regular production of my content is needed to help fund the production of this said video. The reason why I'm making this update is so it's understood that I'm not just ignoring my obligations and responsibilities and suddenly hiding behind a flurry of videos in hopes that people will one day forget. The reason why this video has taken so much time as it has is not only am I a one-man team producing this, but I'm also continually uncovering more segments to the story and hearing more and more voices that come forward to speak their side of things. Interviews, questionnaires, screenshots, the works.
That's the other thing about something like this, is when you start on a large video project and you want it to be comprehensive, and in this case, it's got to be true, right? In this case, there is a looming legal threat that, anything that makes it into the video that ends up not being true could spur some kind of a defamation, case and get Oz sued, right? So, there's a lot of pressure to get it right. And also apparently there's new things kind of coming up, new people coming forward, and it's a story that's evolving. And that's one of the biggest problems I've had in trying to make video essays. The streaming makes it hard to have enough time to concentrate on something like that, and B, while you're doing something like that and it's taking, if you do a really in-depth video essay, it's gonna take upwards of a month, right, to do like a heavy comprehensive 2-hour video essay. That's gotta, I think for some people it takes like 6 months, based on the production schedule of some bread tubers, right? But while that's happening, there's more pages, more chapters being added to the story, which makes it longer because you've got to revise it. You've got to find where does this fit in? And yeah, this is
all from a number
lot
of individuals. During this process, the video will continue to remain under production. I'm not stopping this because of her retaliation. While she did successfully give me pause, I do fully intend to complete this video. Now, let's talk about how Blair is even able to foreclose on me. What put her in a position of power beyond a landlord, a mortgagee, which in my eyes is something even worse. As a quick note, Blair's name is not on any of the original documents related to my home. I'm providing all of this information to give full context to the GoFundMe, as I feel it's more than deserved, as honestly, I would feel guilty as hell putting the video on pause shortly after it hit its funding goal, followed by me just continuing to upload regular content without warning. More details will of course follow with the main video, as I do not have time to fully expand on everything. As I briefly stated previously, Blair and I dated. We started when I was 20 and she was 28, and currently, I'm 23, almost 24. In the beginning, Blair walked me into several poor financial decisions. My naivety caused me to believe her reassurances that I could handle all of the financial obligations being dropped onto my shoulders by someone more experienced in life than I was. Why these obligations were placed onto me? At the time, Blair had bad credit, so all of the purchases, loans, everything was being placed in my name. This included the car that she purchased, then revoked from Wonderstruck. I was on the loan as a co-signer only because of my credit at the time. Eventually, though, the financial responsibilities that I incurred would stack up on me, building a mountain of monthly debt that would lead me into several financially tight months, and eventually just breaking. This would lead me to asking Blair, my partner, for financial help for things such as my home, which she was living in. Help from my partner, who at any given time would be making up to 30 times my monthly income. These amounts of assistance would be added to a ledger of debt. And I want to clarify again, Blair wasn't my bank. She wasn't my landlord. She was my partner at this time. This ledger also includes things such as a non-refundable design fee and land deposit on a multi-million-dollar custom home that she threatened to break up with me if I didn't agree to proceed on this with her, as well as other financial expenses that I honestly can't account for, nor even come close to this number when digging through my own finances. This ledger would creep into the range of $180,000, an insurmountable amount where I don't even understand how she got there. That number ballooned higher and higher, the number ever increasing, and I never questioned it out of guilt for needing help. Guilt from her telling everyone, from her friends to my friends, to her employees, to hell, even her Discord staff, about my finances, oftentimes unprompted. Guilt involving the fact that everyone I interacted with on a day-to-day basis looked down on me for her words towards me. My own partner, the person who was supposed to be my other half, was actively putting me in a position where she was chipping away at my mental health. I was afraid to tell anyone what was happening because she had convinced me that I was a parasite, that I avoided telling anyone who could have helped who could have helped me see what was happening out of fear of further confirmation, more eyes looking down on me. Something to note, when you're around Blair, your world revolves around her. In my case, my home was hers, despite her name not being on it. I had no friends out in Colorado, a state that I moved to at the behest of Blair. Only Blair's friends were out here. All of my connections had to be approved by her. I wasn't allowed to be friends with people she didn't like, such as Click and One Topic, or even Wonder, once that bridge was burned and reduced to cinders. I was even in a position where my finances were nearly entirely controlled by her, from what debts I took on to later being the fact that she was the person who signed my paychecks. All while my world was painted to me in a light where I should be grateful for her generosity. It wasn't until recently, when I explained my situation to my parents, my friends outside of Blair's control, that I began to understand just how perverse my life had become for nearly 3 years. And I want to add, I tried to pay Blair back in any way that I could, by the way. I felt indentured to her by this debt she had hanging over my head. Hell, I even took a position in her company at a lower pay to try and pay this debt back. Offered to work with her in her crypto farm for free to pay back.
Crypto farm. This just keeps getting worse and worse. iIluminaughtii ran a crypto farm? Like, if you don't know what iIluminaughtii's content is, I mean, people have described it as a content farm, which is generally, quickly produced video essays without a lot of attention to the research and the facts. Like, just pump them out, right? And, slick, well-edited, video essays on hot topics, right? That's what she does. But a lot of the, her niche, I guess, would be like anti-MLM, exposing scams, exposing companies that have done really scummy things. And like, I'm surprised there's not a video on crypto. In fact, you know what? Maybe there is maybe she basically watch Mojo. Yeah. A crypto farm. She has a crypto farm. That's right. Apparently Blair had run a crypto farm, which, like, look, and also Blair was a member of the leftist mafia. Blair presented herself as, being a progressive, maybe even like a leftist, right? And, an environmentalist too, right? Crypto farms, like, it's literally using energy resources to mine free coin, or not free, but subtract your expenses from your whatever you mine, and like make that amount of money from just what is a crypto farm? Like having a bunch of mining rigs? Wait, is this a joke? That'd be funny if it was a crypto farm, like it was like, mining rigs. Yeah, when you said mining rigs, I was thinking of like aliens or something, like, like going down to a planet and, wait, do they have, are they mine? I don't even remember, but like, anyway, so crypto farm, yeah, you're talking about, well, I don't know if it's like a rig, like, right? Or if it's like her videos are not good. Room servers. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I was trying to say. It's not necessarily like workstations or anything like that, right? Because you're not actually doing any work there. The software is doing the work, mining the crypto, and all you gotta do is have those servers running. And yeah, I mean, like, it's a way to make money. It's a very passive income, I guess I could say. Not aware of her being into cryptocurrency. Well, no, content farm and is what her channel was, but crypto farm, apparently that's something that she was doing on the side. That was a side hustle for her, which is it's just kind of a hypocritical side hustle for a leftist to run. I mean, it's not, I don't know, is it? I'm trying to compare it to like if she released an NFT. Which is worse? I mean, I guess crypto farm is worse for the environment. NFT scam would be worse for your fans or anybody who bought into that. Generally what that is like, you get your friends in at ground level and then you sell everything off and then people are left with these worthless NFTs. It's where you plant crypto seeds and grow crypto trees. Yeah. Amount of energy. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Like, right. It's free money, but it's terrible for the environment.
Back the debt. Anything that I could to try and make myself feel useful. While I worked for Blair's company, I helped improve it in any way that I could with my knowledge of how YouTube worked. I was able to assist in the push for Blair's channel to make the sudden and stark rise into a new payout range of 6 figures a month.
6 figures a month. So you're talking about upwards of 600,000 a year.
All while I was being paid not even enough to get by with my monthly bills. And Blair was very aware of my finances. I sacrificed a lot of my time to try and recoup this debt while also trying to help save her channel, because in 2021, due to personal and private reasons expressed to me by Blair, this would lead me to up and almost entirely abandon my channel throughout the year of 2022. More of this story later, because there are more pieces. But this led to the end of 2022, where Blair would take advantage of not only my financial strife, but both my legal and financial illiteracy in December of that year. When I was 23 and Blair was nearly 31, Blair, with her lawyer, would create an honestly quite confusing legal document for me to sign where I would agree to pay back her debt. Blair, being...
Wait, they're noisy as hell? Wait, Michael Seitz, do you mean they're like would it be noisy to somebody living there? Or would it be noisy to like the next house over? Like, how noisy are we talking about? I actually don't know anything about crypto. Other than the only people I know that are into crypto are people who hate my guts.
The person who signed my checks knew that I couldn't afford legal representation. Blair also knew that the $2,500 that she was having me pay monthly towards that debt was almost as much as I was making monthly working for her. This would mean that I could barely pay for anything else in my life other than the debt that I owed her. Everything I made working for her was going right back into her pocket. Blair would bring me to her lawyer's office.
So yeah, that was one of the allegations about the sad milk and the, the community of sad milk, those content creators, that it felt like, especially with the way that things were with Wonderstruck, it felt like a company town. It felt like, you're sort of like, locked into the position that you're in. And you end up spending a lot of the money that you're earning doing what you're doing, to Blair for what she's, providing you.
In a room alone with the two of them, with papers in front of me. Papers which I foolishly signed.
Wait, so you're saying that if somebody had a crypto farm, that it would be like people in the next house that would be like, that would be like hearing it?
For a myriad of reasons, ranging from Blair expressing that this would mend our relationship, that it was the right thing for me to do, that this would also protect her legally and prevent her from getting into trouble with the IRS. She also would describe to me, and while I can't remember if this exact word was ever used, she essentially explained to me that because she used company funds to assist me, that she had committed embezzlement. And by converting the amount that I owed her into a loan with her company, this would save her skin legally. Now, to most people, that word may not have a lot of meaning. But to me, when I was 11, my mother was incarcerated for this exact crime, a remnant of the 2008
for embezzlement
financial crisis. This taught me a very harsh lesson from an early age. But more importantly, Blair was aware of this past of mine. Whether this was used against me, I can't say for certain, but the idea of another person I loved being locked away, but this time for my action.
Buffy, thank you for the resub. Meow.
Please. Words cannot describe the guilt that I had. As I briefly stated earlier, Blair used this debt as a promise that this would specifically help mend our relationship, not our friendship, and put us on a better foot. It wouldn't be until a few weeks after.
I mean, look, So we are hearing like one side of this story, and even though like Blair has, you know, objectively done some pretty bad stuff, and you know, like so I mean, like, I just want to make sure that we all understand that this is under the rubric of allegedly, right? This is Oz's story, and it sounds really bad, but I mean, you know, it's not
signing that document that I would learn that she had already moved on, and had almost everyone in my daily life keep this fact a secret from me. Blair used all of this, promises of reconciliation and other factors, which will soon be further elaborated on, as means to get me to sign a document known as a deed of trust. I wasn't aware of the power that this document held, what it does, what it allowed her to do.
But the whole idea of taking advantage of somebody that's, you know, 20 years old, 23 years old at this point, financially illiterate, the kind of emotional, like, manipulation that he is describing, yeah, just like...
Again, I couldn't afford legal representation. She knew this. This document gave her the power to foreclose if I was unable to make a monthly payment of nearly $2,500 for nearly a decade. Blair knew that even with my income working for her, close if I was unable to make a monthly payment of nearly $2,500 for nearly a decade.
$2,500. Okay, God, I thought, okay, I apologies, right? I said 250,000 earlier. I think I got a few zeros wrong. Yeah, no, he wasn't on the line for $250,000. Like, I mean, I honestly don't know how much a channel like his makes. So like I was like, okay, $250,000, right? It still sounds like a lot, you know, to pay off. But 2,500, right? So we're talking about 2,500, not 250,000. That's a little bit. It's an order of magnitude difference.
Blair knew that even with my income working for her.
Oh my God. Yeah. Wait, for 10 years. Wait, so how much money is that? Anybody got the calculation? Wait, that's like... $40,000 times 400. Is that 400? No, 300,000. $300,000 in total.
That this wasn't possible.
This is like worse than my student debts, which is hard to imagine that's possible.
So it feels as though she knew that I would be destined to fall behind, that this outcome was inevitable. If the home is foreclosed or if I decide to sell, Blair gets an immediate payout, and it's because of this that I'm hesitant to take the easy way out. There's also the fact that there's just not enough equity in the home, that if this were to foreclose upon, Blair would still be out money, and she could then sue me further to get that money back. If you're looking for an easy point of evidence, as you can see with Wonder, Blair has a habit of taking advantage of younger men, 8 years younger than her, and their financial illiteracy for her own personal gain. Originally, I assumed that I would have the video produced by now, but unfortunately, I overestimated my abilities, and also had to deal with the legal and financial stress which followed. It's obvious to me that I need to focus on myself and not destroy my well-being for this video. This, of course, leads me to the GoFundMe. Not a penny of what has been raised will be used to repay Blair. I will be using the aid given for legal fees and only necessary expenses. The purpose is to aid me in potentially breaking out of what I can only call a manipulative situation with several lanes of legal red tape in front of me. This money will be used to secure a legal retainer and any legal cost, and once and only once the legal front is secured, will I use the funding to help with monthly finances related to securing my home. Finances which are not tied to Blair in any way. I also want to add that I'm not trying to escape any debt that I may rightfully owe Blair. I just don't want to fucking lose my home or lose it from retaliation.
Yeah, this is a scary situation when you're dealing with somebody who's got, it sounds like, you know, very litigious in terms of the people that she's like threatened to sue. and you don't have representation, right? You don't even know like what of like, because here's my guess. I'm going out on a limb here, but maybe some of the stuff that he's on the line for is like, you know, not legit. There's some chance that if a lawyer went through that, yeah, he really does need to lawyer up, right? Because like, right, he signed documents with Blair and her lawyer. So, you know, I mean, if her lawyer wrote it, I mean, chances are it's pretty ironclad, but you know, there may be some elements which are less ironclad, and I don't know, like that's like a huge giant, like what could he have, like, I'm just trying to imagine, like, what would he be on the line for as far as debts to Blair? Like, is she buying, like, you know, equipment, or like, right? What charges would he have incurred? You know, you're talking about like, you know, paying a mortgage, I guess, but she like owns it. I guess we'll see more about this when the video comes out, which may be a while. It sounds like it may take a while to, because in addition to finishing that video, he's also got to put out like regular content and, you know, stuff that he does normally, which is just like Reddit. He'll go over like Reddits and stuff like that. That's kind of like what pays the bills for him. So, you know, he's got to do some of that. So we don't know when we'll get the rest of the description of this, but I just can't imagine what he would, how he ended up being on the line for, it sounds like $300,000, like, right? Like what did he use $300,000 of that he owes money to Blair for? Like, and like, you know, the fact that she was the one who kind of brought him into these deals, like, I don't know. He does need a lawyer. He definitely needs a lawyer.
For further future transparency, I intend to provide updates with my GoFundMe.
He needs to get Legal Eagle,
which will include progress updates and invoices.
Legal Eagle, if you're out there, I got somebody who you need to work for pro bono. Seriously.
When applicable. I intend to be as transparent as I legally can throughout all of this. And of course, I wanted to thank everyone for their patience with me. And
okay, wait, there's an ad coming up, and I should have told you about it already, but I didn't. I got distracted. Yeah, there's an ad coming up. You can get out of it with a Prime. You can get out of it by paying for it. It's 25% off through the month of September, which means any sort of subs that you buy, even if they're for the future, they are 25% off right now. And you could also get it through a gift sub, which is going to happen more likely if you're active in chat. I'm so bad at remembering those things.
And I felt that this update was more than deserved for everyone who's been here so far. Thank you all. Also, she took the furniture.
Wait, what? She took the furniture? Is that what he said?
Thank you all. Also, she took the furniture.
She took the furniture. She took the furniture. Okay.
Automakers in the United States of America: Stellantis, General Motors, and Ford. There's so much good stuff that I pulled up here about this particular issue. Do not worry, fear not. We got all of that lined the f up. We got Big Brandon. But before, let's do the background, okay?
At midnight, United Auto Workers walked off the job at 3 plants belonging to the nation's big 3 automakers.
We mean business, you know. It's time to make a higher wage.
Facilities in Missouri, Ohio, and Michigan, the first targets of the UAW strike, beginning 1 minute after their labor contract expired with Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis. The UAW has been seeking up to a 40% pay hike, while the big 3 are offering about half that. Other asks include a 4-day work week and a return of pensions for hourly employees, non-starters for the companies. The union is trying a new strategy: strike all 3 automakers, but at select plants, and expand the strike if necessary.
Something that's kind of annoying, and like, you know, I'm kind of talking about before the pandemic here. A certain percentage of my friends did not have a job. A certain percentage of my friends had a job that made them work ridiculous hours, right? So you got people that are out of work, and you got people that are working too much, right? Any reasonable system would put these two together and say, you know what? Let's hire these people and have these people work less hours, right? That would seem to make sense. But it's not about what makes sense. It's about what makes money under capitalism. That's why we need a union. That's why we need a government that actually, you know, cares about workers, right? Rather than trying to make it harder and harder for workers to organize and to bargain. One good thing, I guess you could say, that came out of, or one better than expected thing, right, that came out of the Biden administration is the NLRB stuff, right? And you're also going to see Biden coming out in favor of the unions, standing with the unions here, which a lot of Democrats have promised to do. And when the time comes, they're never there. They're never really there. So, I mean, like, look, for whatever this is that's done this, whether this is like the partnership between Bernie and Biden, or just Biden feeling like he needs to do something to motivate people to vote. I mean, I'm glad that it's been a long time coming, and it's not nearly sufficient, but did she hire some movers to take the... I don't know. Furniture is usually the stuff that you get for free. Wait. Oh, I see what you're saying. You can find people that are just giving away furniture as long as you'll haul it away for them.
Economist Patrick Anderson.
Actually, I've got a rocker chair I need to get. Anybody want a rocker chair?
And it's a dangerous thing to say you're going to strike just some plants, but not others.
Or it's like, it's like a slider. It's not like a rocking chair, you know. It doesn't go. It's like just like I bought a bunch of furniture from the person who lived here before me because she didn't want to take it with her. And I didn't buy the roller, whatever the hell that thing is. I mean, I'm sure it's comfortable. I'm sure it's nice to like sit on and rock back and forth, but it's just like, I don't have room for that in here.
Like such fucking ghouls, dude. Look at him. You can't be on fucking...
Okay, do you see what he's saying? Here, let me give you a better view of this, right? What do you think, chat? One in chat if you think this guy's dressing like a ghoul.
In television looking like a goddamn ghoul with this fucking fit, dude. You literally are missing the monocle and the top hat and the big ass comical cigar, you know what I mean, with the transatlantic accent. Like, hey, the unions, they're asking too much. They're asking too much of us. We have no money. How else could we justify a 60% increase in our salaries if we were to give the unions their demands?
Striking workers will get just $500 a week strike pay. But if production slows or stops, suppliers like Global Technology, which makes wheels for several cars...
Immediately they go to the other aspects of the supply line and go, oh, the workers there, they're gonna get fucked over, guys. Don't pin workers against one another, you fucking gremlins.
This is the media's like knee-jerk response, right? This is just what they do, right? This is like playbook. This is textbook, right? This is what they haven't got the memo.
Ghouls. If you want to talk about this, okay, if you want to talk about how hard other workers on the supply line, on the supply chain are going to get fucked over, you have to mention who's
dressed like he's off to help the Nazis steal the Ark of the Covenant, right?
Who's responsible for...
Bow ties aren't ghoul exclusive. That's true. Bow ties can be cute. He looks like he's trying to cosplay Pee Wee Herman. It is definitely a fashion statement. I'll say that much.
For the economic hurt. Because it's not the union, it's not the rank and file, it's not the fucking laborers, it's the bosses. And I have such an incredible amount of footage to show you from the bosses who are for the first time ever being questioned, not by like some market guy at CNBC or Bloomberg, okay, or Fox Business, but instead by like CNN and CBS Morning News, and they have no way of dealing with it. I watched so many CEOs confront even a little bit of pushback and crumble like a biscuit that was dried out.
Like a crumbly biscuit, okay.
By being left out in the fucking sun.
It's kind of, yeah, crunchy, crumbly biscuit.
They are so bad at handling even a little bit, like a minor question.
Also, Ostenox, thank you for that.
Like, how do you justify your salary? Stock performance.
Chat. Thank Ostenox, right? We got that zoom in. We got that sizzle. You know, that was nice.
They're so bad.
I'll be very brief. I want to talk very briefly about the auto strike. I'd like to say a few words about the contract negotiations between the United Auto Workers and the Big Three.
Where was this energy when the rail workers were prepping to strike? Okay, listen. Take the dub. Take the fucking dub. Take the dub. Take the dub. Take the dub. You gotta take the dub where you can.
United Auto Workers and the Big Three auto companies. I've been in touch with both parties since this began.
Have the UAW endorsed Biden? No, they have not. This might be a reason for that, as a matter of fact. It seems like he wants that endorsement.
Over the last few weeks and over the past decade, auto companies have seen record profits, including the last few years because of the extraordinary skill and sacrifices of the UAW workers. But those record profits have not been shared fairly, in my view, with those workers. Just as the Treasury Department has released a report pointing out that the most comprehensive report ever dealing with how unions are good for both union workers and non-union workers.
Yep.
And the overall.
I mean, that's classic, though, for the record. What he's saying here is that unions are good for both union and non-union workers is a typical classic NLRB talking point, which is like backed by empirical evidence, obviously. Unions create, on average, a 10% increase in benefits and wages. And not only that, but they also have a likelihood of increasing wages for other non-unionized aspects of the same labor force in the same sector, because people see that there are higher wages in other union shops, and they have no choice but to improve their workplace conditions as well to stay competitive.
Unions raise workers' wages, they said, incomes, increase home ownership, increase retirement savings, increase access to critical benefits like sick leave and child care, and reduce inequality, all of which strengthen our economy for all workers. That's because unions raise standards across the workplaces and entire industries, pushing up wages and strengthening benefits for everyone.
That's a tiny, tiny fridge.
This is pretty fire.
That's why strong unions are critical to a growing economy and growing it from the
I'm afraid that Ostenox is going to cut the funny stuff out, though.
middle out, the bottom up, not the top down. That's especially true as we
What is he drinking? Is that a Monster?
transition to a clean energy future, which we're in the process of doing. Where the UAW remains at the heart of our auto economy, and where the Big Three companies continue to lead in innovation, excellence, quality, and leadership. Last night, after negotiations broke down, the UAW announced a targeted strike at a few Big Three auto plants. Let's be clear. No one wants a strike. Say it again. No one wants a strike.
He's right.
But I respect workers' right to use.
Bro, did I write this? What the fuck's going on? Who is
God damn it, Ostenox, you make me look like such an amateur.
Who is my man speechwriter? I mean,
like, where did you get those splines?
He's right. He's 100% right. These are 2 minutes and 5 seconds in. Every single thing that he has said thus far.
Ostenox, if I cook you delicious vegan food, will you teach me to edit like that?
Said on this broadcast, okay? 100%.
Use their options under the
Look at
collective
that.
bargaining system. And
That is clean.
I understand the workers' frustration. Over generations, auto workers sacrificed so much to keep the industry
I'm
alive.
sure that Ostenox does not use Da Vinci.
Alive and strong, especially through the economic crisis and the pandemic. Workers deserve a fair share of the benefits they help create for an enterprise. The bottom line is that auto workers help create America's middle class. They deserve a contract that sustains them in the middle class. So thank you very much. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing that the 4-day contract is like, I'm guessing it's something like that 4 days at 12 hours or something like that, but it would kind of be nice if we could move towards a 30-hour work week, like, especially considering how much automation is going to like reduce the amount of person hours needed. It would be nice if that there was some benefit of that in terms of maybe.
Just listening to President Biden, they're talking about the current auto workers strike. The United Auto Workers Union is currently striking against 3 facilities from the 3 big U.S. automakers. First time in history that's ever happened, and we just heard the president trying to encourage the automakers to come up to do more in these negotiations.
Yeah, it like takes it out of you so that you're just like recovering on the weekends.
Bring in White House.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. This makes me very happy. This makes me very hopeful. There have been astronomical dubs on the union side over the course of these past 2 years, especially recently. There's a lot of leverage in the labor force, and unions are utilizing that in a perfect way. You got the American Airlines, you got UPS Teamsters, you got the WGA, SAG-AFTRA strikes that are happening currently. This is something that I have talked about quite a bit. This is like every time people ask me like, Hassan, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? You always fucking complain. You always fucking complain. And I tell you, like, this is the thing that you're supposed to do. This is the only power that you have, and this is the only area of legitimate influence that you have over your own lives. It's the only way that you can actually have some autonomy clawed back from your bosses. And that's why I always have stressed for years and years and years the importance of union participation, the importance of unionizing, the importance of organizing in your workplace. Seeing all of that makes me very happy. Seeing all that come to fruition makes me very, very happy. If you have the opportunity, you should also take advantage of this momentum.
Mary Alice, he's saying that these companies and the union, for that matter, that they're working round the clock to try to work this out. How much hope do you think there is from the White House that this will be resolved quickly?
The White House so far has been very optimistic. They've been telling us behind the scenes they're hopeful that this won't go on for long, that they don't think it will be hugely disruptive to the economy if it is short-lived.
There's never been an instance throughout American history where, especially in the last 100 years, where an American president has openly done something that's pro-labor without outside pressure. And yes, of course, many of you probably get what I'm saying because I'm talking about FDR. Something that is hailed as like the greatest move towards social democracy. Changes that were made in the United States of America under FDR and his New Deal that we are still relying on, like the fucking crumbling infrastructure that we built almost 100 years ago. All of that stuff only happened not because FDR himself was a rugged communist or even a social democrat, as a matter of fact. That happened because he saw how much outsized pressure was mounting. He saw the potential influence was a rugged communist or even a social democrat, as a matter of fact. That happened because he saw.
So you got a negative correlation here in this graph. I hope you can see that between the share of income going to the top 10% and union membership. Generally, higher union membership is clawing back some of the money that the top 10% are taking home. So, you know, income equality, unions are correlated with that. And it's like, yeah, you got one peak here in the early 40s. You've got another peak here close to the same rate throughout, looks like the 50s. And then ever since then, it has fallen off. And that's kind of my gripe with, you know, FDR. As much as people want to praise him, because, like, you know, when you say stuff like, you know, Biden's the best president for labor in our lifetime, I mean, that's not a big claim. That's a low bar. That's a very, very low bar. You gotta almost go back to like FDR, you know, and FDR. Look, FDR enacted legislation which made people's material conditions better, depending on who you are, right? Because some of those benefits were not available if you were black, right? So, you know, with that caveat, right, it's been clawed back. Like, we're back at kind of a Gilded Age. Look at this, like union membership and the percentage of money taken home by the top 10%. They've the take-home pay of top 10% has climbed back. Union membership is, has been near that low, like that you see in the actual Gilded Age, right? The Gilded Age is right here in the 30s. You got kind of a bump in union membership post World War I, maybe, and then it slides down and it dips down, and then this big upsurge is the Great Depression. But even with somebody like FDR, which, like, that is, like, the Democrats would not elect somebody like FDR. The Democrats would shit. If somebody was like, yeah, like, if somebody wanted to claw back the New Deal and all those policies, they wouldn't make it out of a Democratic primary. And yet that wasn't sufficient. That didn't change fundamentally. And you know what I would posit didn't change? It's the leverage, right? Social programs are great. A social safety net is great. It should happen. It needs to happen. People need to be taken care of. But what we really need, if you're looking for an electoral goal, is to be able to elect politicians that are going to increase the leverage that workers have. The union stuff that Biden did is maybe a first step, but we're so far away, because we're not just talking about, like, it'd be nice to get, like, for instance, pay back on line with productivity. If you don't know, in the 1970s, you saw a decoupling, right? Like, usually your take-home pay, it increases with productivity. So the average productivity of an American worker is correlated, right? Tends to go up or down, along with the productivity, what your employer is earning or is getting out of your labor, right? That's your productivity, right? It would be nice if they at least tracked. It's not great. You're still getting your surplus labor value extracted, but at least you're being cut in for increases in productivity, which a lot of times what that increase represents is more labor being placed on each employee. So especially if you're more productive, you're doing more, you're earning more for your company, it would make sense that you would take home more. That hasn't happened since the 70s, right? That and like I said, that's insufficient.
How much outsized pressure was mounting. He saw the potential influence. He saw trade unionists, communists, Marxists who were genuinely pushing the American government into
yeah, he actually had to name a socialist as his vice president for the first term.
Action. So let's get to it.
He caved to the right in replacing him with Truman for the wait, actually I'm not sure how vice president worked at the time,
because there's some really fire bangers here, okay? And this is a historic strike, because for the first time in history, union workers are striking against all of the big three automakers. Like I said, Stellantis, GM, and Ford. Apparently there's a Hassan Abi head on this one. I don't know how true that is.
We're going to be out here as long as we have to be to get our share for our members. So it's up to the companies how long it's going to be.
There are tiers, right? So very likely you could be standing or working next to
It's 100% this dude. He's got the Marks
fellow
now
coworker who could be making upwards of $15, $17 more an hour than you are for the same work. So, we're trying to, get workers on the same page and the same platform. And so they more solidarity in the workplace instead of trying to put workers up against each other, because that's what they do when they do these tier systems.
Okay, so I was wondering about that. So one of the signs says 32, wait, what is it? 32 hours. The tiers are I think what happens. So yeah, they want pensions to be reinstituted. They want 4 days a week work schedule. Something else though.
Making upwards to $15, $17
on one of the signs.
More an hour than you are for the same work. So we're trying to get workers on the same page and the same platform. And so they more solidarity in the workplace instead of trying to put workers up against each other, because that's what they do when they do these solidarity in the workplace instead of trying to put workers up.
32 hours work for 40 hours pay. So I mean, like, that is what, and I'm sure that of all the industries, the auto industry is one that is constantly getting automation. So yeah, it makes sense. Automation's either gonna be that your labor is less valuable and less needed, and so you get cut out, or it's gonna be that unions are able to negotiate for you to get cut in instead.
Against each other, because that's what they do when they do these tier systems.
Prices has tripled, so we deserve a raise. We haven't had a raise in years. We can't even afford the product that we're making right now. That's crazy. It's time for a change.
So we saw the Brandon auto worker speech, but let's hear what the CEOs are saying. Bernie's live right now. You guys want me to watch Bernie? Let's hear it. Let's see what Bernie's saying.
In the last 50 years, there has been a massive redistribution of wealth. Problem is, it's gone in the wrong direction. And what this strike is about, and what workers are standing up all over this country for, is we're going to reverse that.
This is the fallout of boomers' mentality. Yeah, so much is.
It is time to sit down and negotiate a fair contract. The big three can afford to spend $9 billion on dividends and stock buybacks last year. They can afford to provide a decent COLA to auto workers so their wages.
New hires since the collapse are getting paid less with no. So that's what the tiers are about. I think what Chad Alpha's talking about, right? You're on a different tier depending on when you joined. And that's in order for them to, and that's what he was talking about with the solidarity, getting everybody on the same page, right? The way that some of these contracts had worked was that people that had joined a long time ago, that were older workers, right? They were sort of grandfathered in as far as the pensions went and everything. And if you were getting hired, you were signing a contract that didn't have any pension associated with. So basically, all the things that the unions fought for in the past were being phased out for new workers, and that's a wedge against solidarity, right? They're taking care of people already working for the company, but they're screwing over the new hires. That's what a union should fight for, right? The no more tears. Oh God, I didn't even get it. That was the joke. No more tears. Okay, God, isn't that like an Aussie song? Is that an Aussie song? Anybody in chat know what I'm talking about? No more tears. I think it's got to be some kind of metal. Speaking of metal, unless you're metal enough to face the ad break, now is the time to be thinking about getting yourself a sub so that you don't have to go through that again. You might have gone through it 30 minutes ago. That's right. Every 30 minutes we get an ad. And if you want to not experience that ad, you can do it with a Twitch Prime. You can do it for 25% off if you buy one during the month of September. And that's any kind of package of subs you buy, even if you get subs for future months. Those are 25% off, I think, during this month as well. Or you could possibly wait around and see if you can get a gift sub. It is a roll of the dice. You're not assured to get one. And you're more likely to get one, though, if you're more active in chat, because that way people can see that you're here.
Just keep pace with inflation.
We have a lot to talk about still, so I'm going to move back to the CEOs because there's some really good stuff here, okay? Here is the CEO of Ford, who went on TV to say that the UAW's demands would bankrupt the company. He provided no evidence and failed to say he makes $21 million and also oversees billions in stock buybacks. He also said the union gave him no counterproposal for the last 2 weeks, which is a lie. Let's take a look.
Quickly put in some perspective. The offer that they have, what they're demanding relative to where you are right now, how much damage would that do to the bottom line if you were to say, sure, we'll give you 40%?
Do you see what a softball question this is? No, this is like CNBC's, right? So we kind of expect this from them.
Signed up for the UAW's request. Instead of making money and distributing $75,000 in profit sharing in the last 10 years, we would have lost $15 billion and gone bankrupt by now.
$75,000 in profit sharing in the last 10 years? The fuck is my man saying right now? Oh, dude, damn, you would have lost fucking profits? That's crazy. That sucks, dude. Of course, he's on CNBC, so he can say that because the people that are watching this interview are the shareholders, you know, the people who have stock, the people who have at least like a genuine stake in the company, not the fucking silly stakeholders in the form of workers.
$1 and gone bankrupt by now. The average pay would be nearly $300,000 fully fringed for a 4-day work week. There is no way.
Per UAW employee.
Yeah. This is our fully tenured school teacher in the U.S. makes $66,000. Someone from the military or firemen.
I love when a CEO goes on national news and is like, you know, these guys, they're already getting paid too much. It's like, hey, cocksucker, what about you? What is your pay? They're the ones who are building the fucking Bronco that you're sitting in front of, you asshole. How many fucking Broncos have you built? How many assembly lines have you actually sat on? You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck are you saying? It's like, oh, these guys, they're asking for too much. They're asking for too much. Teachers don't make that much. Teachers make $66,000. By the way, on what planet? Where? He's out of his fucking mind. He's like, yeah, the real greed.
Like if you have a master's and you're like tenured,
coming from the workers that are assembling all the fucking products that we're selling, the real value that they're generating that I steal from them. Oh, it's really fucked up. But love when he says, teachers, what do they make, like $66,000? Where? How many fucking years have they been teaching? Where? In which market? Get the fuck out of here. 1, totally different sector. 2, they should be paid more as well. You're against that too, you fucking piece of shit. Shut the...
That's such a weird flex to be like, yo, teachers get shafted. Why can't we shaft the auto workers too? Come on. Hey, M-Dragon.
Fuck up.
It makes mid 50,000. This is 4 or 5 times, 6 times what they make. There's no way we can be sustainable as a company. That's why we put our proposal in 2 weeks ago to say, look, you want us to choose bankruptcy over supporting our workers? Here's our proposal. Let's work through this.
Yeah, it's bullshit. So first of all, they didn't actually offer a counter proposal. He says the union gave him no counter proposal. That's a lie. You know who didn't actually offer a counter proposal? These fucking...
But also look at who's not holding him up to any scrutiny, right? This would be, you know, something to offer a follow-up question on. Of course he's not going to get that from CNBC.
Assholes. These shitbags held this up until last week. The UAW literally had to file a grievance with the NLRB to force them to the fucking table. So the idea that like the union didn't offer us counter proposals, fucking bullshit. He's just lying. He said they would lose $15 billion with the proposal, but they made $23 billion in profit and almost $200 billion in revenue last year. Am I misunderstanding, or is he just lying? Yes, of course he's lying, and he's on CNBC. So CNBC, sorry. So he's not going to get any pushback. But here's a fucking CEO who did actually get some pushback.
GM and the union could not come to an agreement before the midnight deadline. Why is that?
I'm actually even surprised to see pushback from the mainstream media, you know, right? That's like, there's plenty of times when these people are just taken the same way that they would treat like a retired general that they're bringing on. If they're bringing on a retired general, it is like, tell us how the war is, you know, tell us, you know, why, you know, this is a, you know, a good use of the American military, and right, of course they're gonna, you know, justify it. They've got, you know, stock in the they've got stock in the military contract, like the, you know, Raytheons of the world too, right? You know, but
Well, I think that's a question you probably need
CEOs kind of get treated the same way.
Ask the UAW, because we have a very compelling offer on the table. I'm very
bullshit
frustrated because I think we had an offer that resonates with our people. It's a historic offer. Gross wage increases of 20% that compound to 21%, maintaining world-class health care. There's several aspects as well. But I think one thing that's most important is job security. And, you know, we're in an incredibly exciting time in this industry right now as we make the transformation from internal combustion engine.
Yeah, it's an incredibly exciting time in this industry for you. I'd be excited too if my company's profits were like unimaginably.
Oh yeah, sorry. This is some background I need to give you too. The auto manufacturers' profits have been way up. What's not been way up is wages, right? So it's another issue where they're trying to get cut in for what they're bringing in. And companies are acting like, oh my God, you're going to bankrupt our company?
astronomically large, and my compensation was directly tied to the company performance, the company profits specifically, I'd be like, oh, dude, it's so exciting.
Yeah. So if you're a CEO or, some upper level person, there's a good chance that you get paid in stock. And so that, like, the fact that the company's taking in profits like that is going to end up financially benefiting you.
Every single ghoulish fucking CEO that you see on national television right now, on network television, every single one of them is making like 20 mil, 30 mil.
The UAW also struck against GM in 2019, so 2 strikes in 4 years. What do you think you're getting wrong? Well, I think each of those are very different, and I think, 19 had its whole set of issues, very different. It take a long time to go through all of that. But if you look at where we are right now, we understand the world has changed. And that's why we put a historic offer on the table with the increases. I think our manufacturing team is the best on the field. The way they managed through the COVID situation and continue to build cars, trucks, and crossover, the way that we managed and they, moved with us as we went through the semiconductor shortage and still the supply challenges that we see today, they're very resilient. And I want to recognize them because our manufacturing team, along with the engineering team, for the last 2 years has been...
I love when they say this stuff because it's like the same energy as we're a family. And it's like, man, if you fucking care about them, okay, if you care about...
We are not a family. In this country, we are not a family. We are not getting taken care of by the capitalist class. Like, that is some bullshit.
About your manufacturing plant workers, then why don't you care about them enough to fucking pay them? You know what I mean? Like, you don't care about them.
Like, when you got these CEOs and stuff, when you got these assholes jonesing for, some layoffs, right? I mean, and yeah, that's another way that they increase their stock price, through laying people off. Another way that they change the amount of leverage that they have with their workers, because like they feel like, we've got it too easy. They want to, drastically. What was the Australian guy said? He wanted to increase unemployment by 50%. Teach the workers a lesson. You work for us. Get it right.
It's fucking bullshit. Let me get a little bit
more working from home for you.
Deeper into the
you've had it too easy
nitty gritty here, so you guys have a better understanding of exactly what the fuck is going on. Now, this is already a leftist community, so we are already under the assumption, at least for the most part.
Even compensating for inflation, NVIDIA's top of the line GPU 10 years ago is still cheaper than the 4090 is now.
That the capitalist dogma surrounding workers' relations to the means of production and profit is pretty horrific at this point, and that workers and their performance and the amount of profits that the company generates is created by the antagonistic relationship between people like her, who get literally paid on their performance on how low they can keep the wages. And if you want to understand,
yeah, like among other things, it's like, profits, but like one of those one of the levers that they press on to eke out more profits is lowering wages.
The impact of this reality, if you want to see what it's like, here is Jeff Shirky, labor historian, journalist, unionist, assistant professor at SUNY Empire Labor. Here's a graph that shows perfectly what the situation looks like. Now, over the last 4 years in the big three, Ford, GM, and Stellantis, the labor cost per vehicle has only increased by 4 to 5%.
It's a family, but in the toxic patriarchal sense of the
word,
that
means that the average worker's salaries across the board has only gone up 4 to 5%. The UAW top wage rate has gone up by 6%, okay? Inflation, on the other hand, has gone up by 20%. Now, that means that the average fucking worker actually got a 15% pay cut, because if inflation is going up by 20%, that means, and your salary is not tied to COLA, cost of living adjustments, that means that you actually got a 15% pay cut. Okay, so just understand how that works with inflation. On the other hand, car prices have actually gone up more than the inflation has gone up. The average prices of a car has gone up by 34%. So where is this going? If the North American profits went up by 65% in this entire time, where is the money going? Well, the money's going somewhere that you can kind of see on this graph here, on this chart, on this whatever. Cool, fun little graphic that they made. It's going to stock buybacks, which went up 1,500%, because that's how this works. Workers generate the value, bosses keep their labor cost per vehicle as low as possible, and then they turn around and take that cash, profits that they have accumulated off of basically underpaying all the workers what their actual productive labor value is, and then they engage in stock buybacks. For those of you who don't know, stock buybacks used to be illegal. Shouts out to Ronald Reagan, who made them legal, for the record. Stock buybacks are a way to consolidate stocks that are out in the marketplace by engaging in artificial stock manipulation. It's normally market manipulation. Used to be illegal. Ronald Reagan made it legal. For those of you who don't know, this used to be illegal. It's when your company decides to take the profits and then feed all of that money back into the company to artificially boost its price, because now, oh my God, people are purchasing the fucking stocks. Who's purchasing the stocks? Not random people in the marketplace because of the company performance, but actually people, actually the board itself, consolidating stocks by repurchasing the stocks that are out there. Do you understand? This has a way to artificially boost the stock prices. Now, there's another part of this that I did not mention to you. The CEO pay, because the CEO pay in this same process went up by almost 10 times the labor cost per vehicle. Because the CEO pay went up by 40%, because it's directly tied to this exact fucked up graphic that you're looking at. CEO pay and CEO compensation, board compensation in general, is directly tied to stocks, okay? Stock performance. That's what, when they say our performance is our performance is tremendous, they're talking about stocks. It doesn't mean that like the workers are getting paid better. It doesn't mean that they have a cool new product that they launched. In many instances, it has nothing to do with that at all. It doesn't mean that they have like this incredible technology that no one else has. It just means that the CEO is doing a very good job keeping the fucking labor prices low and artificially inflating the stock prices by engaging in stock buybacks. You're wrong about stock buybacks. I fully support the UAW getting their fair share of profits. Stock buybacks are basically the same as dividends. Both affect stock price. Okay, then make it illegal and keep staying the course on dividends. Why is it the preferred method of all these? And I don't even like dividends either, but like, let me tell you something. Then why are they swapping over? I know why. Do you know why? Taxes. That's why. CEO compensation, board compensation, shareholder compensation, when done with stock buybacks rather than dividends, is not taxable. Do you think a 4-day work week will be possible? I mean, it already is possible. Our level of productivity is so fucking high with technological improvements, technological advancements, that like currently a 4-day work week is absolutely possible. Okay, it was possible a long ass time ago, as a matter of fact. The problem is that if you want to have a 4-day work week, that means you had to have kept hiring people or kept your labor force the same size in whatever sector you were in, regardless of what kind of technological improvements were coming down. And in that situation, then yes, you had 100 people doing the work of 200 because of technological advancements. But instead, if you have 200 employees or if you have 100 employees and you get technological advancements, the capital owner, which is interested in only one thing, improving shareholder value, is going to cut the labor force in half. In order for a 4-day work week to work, you would have to do anti-capitalist things. That's it. There's no other way to put it. It absolutely is feasible. It could be done. You would just have to hire more workers and pay them all.
Yeah. Oh my God. Imagine that you'd have to hire more workers, right? So in other words, more people being employed sounds like a good thing. Why would that be controversial, right? If you even think about it from an employer's point of view, right? The amount of the quality of the labor that a worker does from hours 1 to 30 is probably higher than like to 30 to 40 and 40 to 50, you know what I mean? That rather than making people work overtime, rather than, bringing people in for more hours like they seem to want to do, right? It would even make sense for that. The reason they don't do that though, like the only one that I can think of is that if you keep what is it called? Like a surplus labor force or a residual, like they actually, like capitalists, like people who think about like, the theory, like they are looking for a certain rate of unemployment because that keeps that reserve labor force, I think it's called, or something like that, right? It makes it so that if they fire somebody, they can get somebody right in. the more people that are out of work, the quicker the more expendable the workers become, right? So it's another way of the boss is getting leverage.
Meaningful, decent, livable wage. Can't wait for the 1 day work week, let the robots work. Yeah, exactly. Except that doesn't mean you're going to work 1 day. You're going to keep working fucking 5 days, maybe 7 days. And the robots are,
as long as they've got, the leverage, true.
To work next to you. The robots are simply just going.
The robots are going to be doing machine learning to take your job. They're gonna take your job.
To displace the other workers, and that displacement is going to be used as a threat over your head to say, listen, you want to fucking keep your job? You don't want to be replaced like the rest of the people that we laid off by these fucking robots? Then get back to work, bitch. So if people don't have money to buy stuff, then how would they make money? I love when people arrive at this question, which literally is like, I love this. This is Das Kapital. Okay, the question you just literally asked is one that Mr. Carlos Mark also fucking asked. Okay, you did it. You got it. That's the point. And when you don't have
good point, Reverend Rune. If workers were in control, if workers had a seat at the table, even you would see a lot less of these. You'd see a more manageable work week and hiring more people rather than. That's why real estate. The CEO wanted a 40 to 50% increase in unemployment. I don't think we've watched him yet.
Enough money, because
I don't know if we're gonna have time to watch him though.
The amount of money that you're making at your workplace is getting lower and lower, so you don't even have
coming up on the end of the stream unless we hit that sub goal.
Money to buy the products that you are literally making. That's called alienation. That's one part of it. And the less money that you have, the more technological advancements make it so that your bosses decide to work less and less of you to do the job of 3, 4, 5, 10 people that used to do it before. The lower your compensation gets, the cheaper the products get, but you still cannot fucking purchase it, the less people there are out there who could possibly buy the shit that they're selling, and therefore profits still end up getting smaller.
We have a very talented team. We've put a historic offer on the table, and so that's why I'm so disappointed and frustrated. The union is asking for a 40% wage increase over 4 years. They're asking for that in part because they say CEOs like yourself, leading the big three, are making those kind of pay increases over the course of the last 4 years. You've seen a 34% pay increase in your salary. You make almost.
I'm sorry, this shit gets my dick hard. When I see a fucking CNN anchor straight up be like, so what's up? You got a 34% increase in your salary. What's going on with that? I'm sorry. That shit gets my dick hard, dude. That shit is fucking what? The fuck's going on, dude? The fuck's happening?
What is happening? Actually, what is happening?
Dude, this shit is crazy. Really?
Almost $30 million. Why should your workers not get the same type of pay increases that you're getting leading the company?
At that point, just literally take out a fucking.
What is she gonna say?
Because you spiritually, you figuratively did that. Like, this person has not been asked that question ever in her life. Not on CNN, especially. But that's crazy. A question that she probably has never really even thought about. Because let's see what her fucking answer is to the compensation question.
They're not supposed to do that. They're breaking the rules.
Well, if you look at compensation, my compensation, 92% of it is based on performance of the company. I think one of the strong aspects of the way our compensation for our represented employees is designed is not only are we putting a 20% increase on the table, we have profit sharing. So when
she says it's performance based. Her entire performance demands that she keep wages low. That's it. Make no mistake, chat. It's keep wages low and take the fucking extra profits that you.
So yeah, do you see how perverse this is? Well, yeah, but if I paid them more, then I would make less money. It's performance, but yeah, she's literally incentivized to fuck the workers over.
You've accumulated and engage in stock buybacks. That's the reason why her salary's up 34%. That's it. That's the Sigma grind set, baby. And obviously, I try to describe it on like, very, like, I try to describe it in not academic terms, but in layman terms all the fucking time. But this is a demonstration of dialectical materialism. This is a demonstration of Marxian econ right in front of your fucking eyes. Class antagonism at the heart of capitalism is perfectly
So most things in life, aren't a zero-sum game, okay? Society shouldn't be a zero-sum game. There is working together. They're supporting each other, right? It doesn't have to be, dog eat dog. But because of the nature of our current mode of production, our capitalistic mode of production, there is a direct conflict, a direct contradiction, to use the Marxian term, in terms of the what is to the benefit of the workers as what is to the benefit of the bosses, right? And what are you going to do with that situation? Because rolling over is never the right answer, right? This is not, in fact, that this is, this ties into everything, including, the idea of a further change in mode of production to something, like socialism, like communism, is kind of, in Marx's mind, inevitable, right? Now, what does inevitable mean? How long are we off from that, or can we even get there? That's another question. But yeah, this is a pretty good illustration of these concepts, which seem like they are too much for a lot of leftist streamers to really talk about, but on a
demonstrated
basic level, there it is.
In that singular conversation that we're having, where she goes, my salary is tied, my compensation is fucking tied to the stock performance, to the performance of the company. She can try to hide it, she can try to mask it as best as possible, but the reality is, you ain't out there putting the bumpers on the cars. You're not out there, you're not the best fucking worker who's just like, slapping shit up on the assembly line. You're not doing any of that. Workers are, and your entire job performance specifically is analyzed on how hard you can make those motherfuckers working down there suffer and see less of the value that they're generating. That's it.
When the company does well, everyone does well. And for the last several years, that's resulted in record profit sharing for our represented employees. And I think you have to look at the whole compensation.
I love this too. Our record profit sharing for our representative employees. Okay, great. How about you share the profit, which is what they're exactly asking for right now, in the way that they're asking for? Why are you not listening to the employees? Because the employees got together and they created what is known as a union. And then the union went and elected representation to represent them on their behalf, to sit across from you at the table and say, hey, nice profits you got there. We made it. We built it. We are the reasons why you have it. Can we have some of it back? There would be no strike if what you are saying was adequate. There would be no strike whatsoever if they were happy. At the end of the day, as Joe Brandon also expertly put, nobody wants to strike. Employees don't want to fucking strike. They don't want it. Nobody wants it. It's not real.
Yeah, they're living on $500 a week, from my understanding, during the strike.
The only people that want it are people in this community who aren't fucking working there, okay? That's why they're like, oh, strike, it's sick.
Not only 20% increase in gross wage, but also the profit sharing aspect of it, world-class health care, and there's several other features. So we think we have a very competitive offer on the table, and that's why we want to get back there and get this done.
But if you're getting a 34% pay increase over 4 years and you're offering 20% to employees right now, do you think that's fair?
Well, I think when you look at the overall structure and the fact that 92% is based on performance, and you look at what we've been doing of sharing in the profit.
Which means 92% of her pay rate is based on profit.
She had to go back to the performance, 92% performance. It's like, what is your performance? I want someone to ask, so what do you mean? What do you tell your shareholders?
I'd like to see somebody pin her down on this. I mean, can you imagine that, though? Because here's the problem. The audience, you'd almost need to take out a whiteboard. You'd almost need to, draw it out for them and be like, okay, so she said her 91% of her pay rate is based on performance. What is that performance? We're talking about profitability, right? So how much profit there is. And then we look at where does the profit come from? Money intaken minus expenses minus labor expenses. So in other words, less expenses for labor, more profit for her. So that would be so you're literally telling me that your pay rate depends in part on assuring the lowest labor cost you possibly can, right? You are literally operating under that incentive. That's
in a quarterly earnings report that you did so well. I know because this is public. Let me read. And then just pull out quotes where they are specifically talking about how the labor value per vehicle cost has been kept low. And just turn around and go, what do you mean by this? What do you mean when you say, your performance has been adequate because you have kept the labor cost per vehicle to 5%? That's right here on the fucking report. You said this to your shareholders.
Isn't that wild? Wait, does that mean what I think it means? Labor cost per vehicle. So of the value that the company is getting by selling the vehicle, only 5%. So somebody buys a car, right? Outright or some, I don't know, that's not really how it works. Usually people, would. Anyway, but like for every car sold, just like, let's say hypothetically, 5% of that money, only 5% is going to the workers. Like, what the hell? 5%. Like, I mean, obviously, like, there's materials, there's other things that are going to cost money. There's overhead, there's maintaining the machinery, there's electricity. There are other costs, right? But 5%? 5%? That's...
You said this at a board meeting. So what do you mean by that? Isn't that, who's making what is the labor part of this? What is the labor cost? Who's making the vehicles? Is it the workers that are currently sitting across on the table from you asking for a higher percentage of the profits? Is that what's going on there? Oh, speaking of which, Ford has already laid off 600 non-striking workers in the Michigan Assembly. They're announcing it and claiming that it is because of these strikes that they're doing it.
This is how they try to play workers against workers.
It does not end.
John Ford has just announced that it is laying off approximately 600 workers at its Michigan assembly plant. That is the plant where one of the UAW strikes is taking place. We should point out that strike does not shut down the entire plant. There is still body construction and stamping work that is going on there. But because those employees need some of the parts that the UAW works with and provides to the stamping operation and the body construction operation, and they cannot do that, Ford says it has no choice but to tell those workers they are now laid off. So this is the knock-on
effect. To try to blame the unions for that.
Effect that we've talked about, John, that when you see these strikes begin, you will see layoffs potentially.
It's so incredibly fucked that not even 24 hours and the first move that they make is to just like pit worker against worker and like fuck over another aspect of production. But they don't have enough money to fucking keep them afloat? Fuck no, they do. That in and of itself is 100% retaliation, okay? That's what it is. It's to get the media to cover it in that regard, to be like, look, we knew that this was going to happen and it's happening already.
So we got an ad break, another ad break coming up in 5 minutes. This is your last chance to extend the stream, because this is the last thing that I'm covering. Otherwise, it will be over very quickly unless we get 9 really quick subs. But if you want to do it, you can do it with a Prime. That's for free. If you have Amazon Prime, you get a free Twitch sub that you can use for the streamer of your choice. If it's me, then you don't have to see ads and you do get emotes, right? You can also buy a sub for 25% off of what it normally is, at least on desktop, right? That's the one I know for sure. On desktop, it's 25% off. And that is throughout the whole month of September. Any subs that are bought are going to be 25% off. There's also the potentiality of getting a gift sub. It can happen. It does happen. It's more likely to happen if you're active in chat.
People are losing their fucking jobs because of this. Look how selfish these guys are. So fucked up. I love Bethesda games. You guys already know. I am a bit of an unapologetic fanboy. You're space dust, motherfucker. Let's go. I am a nerd for this kind of shit specifically. I love space exploration games. Damn, dude, this is gonna be great for Cap.
Why is there like a commercial for his gaming right here?
Capitalist mining extraction.
Oh,
everything I wanted. In the words of Todd Howard,
I've got a Game Pass, so apparently I could play that. I just don't know if my I don't know if my processor could run this. Okay, let's really quickly cover Laura Boebert.
The clock is ticking on a fast-approaching deadline to avoid a U.S. government shutdown. This week, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy decided against moving forward with a military spending bill after Republican hardliners revolted. Some conservatives have threatened to oust McCarthy from his speakership if he doesn't bend to their spending requests. Lawmakers now have just 2 weeks to reach a deal to avert a government shutdown that could have a devastating impact on the nation's economy. With me now to talk more about all of this and more is Andrew Desiderio. He is a senior congressional reporter for Punchbowl News. And Julie.
So, I mean, if you don't understand what this is, and this story sounds familiar, right? This is an own goal for the Democrats to allow the government to proceed with a mandatory renegotiation for whether the government will continue to operate every few months, right? And they kick the can down the line, but the Democrats did it to themselves. They did this so that they could please the people that donate to them, who also want like lower taxes, and they want less expenditures on people like us, right? And how do they get that? By being like, oh my gosh, the Republicans twisted our arm again, and I guess we gotta like give them what they want, or else, you know, last time it was raising the age of what was it? There was something with SNAP and a work requirement for SNAP. Pretty sure a government shutdown means people don't get their EBT. Yeah. There's a lot of things a lot of necessary things that shut down. There's so much. Yeah, like no, it's like a government's not supposed to run like this. I think that the assumption at the time was that they wouldn't be held hostage. Like that, like, right, that nobody would be silly enough to be like, yeah, let's go ahead and like not pay the government's bills. Just like, you know, it's just like, right, you got enough money, but you're not going to pay your bills, right? And then everything starts to crash, right? And I think maybe at the time there was an assumption that there would be some like goodwill on the side of the Republicans. Obviously, whatever goodwill was ever there, whatever kind of comedy was ever there, like in the Senate, you know, the probably where this is, you know, crafted is obviously no longer there. Like they're hateful people, and they are willing to hurt anybody to get what they want.
Grace Bufke is a Capitol Hill reporter for Axios. Good to see both of you. All right, Andrew, you first. I mean, do you see a scenario?
Ad is coming up in 5 seconds. It's your last chance.
Where Speaker McCarthy can get the hardliners in his party to agree to a spending bill to avoid a government shutdown.
It's getting increasingly difficult, and one of the biggest issues holding things up right now is going to be aid for Ukraine, which is actually separate from something they considered this past week on the floor, which is the annual defense spending bill. This would be something that's part of the Biden administration's supplemental
fund. And so just one little other element for me to throw into this for you. There's like 3 elements at the table here. You've got the administration, and you know the Democrats are pretty much in line with them. You've got Speaker McCarthy, right, who is a right-winger, who is a Republican, who is not afraid to use the debt ceiling as a chance to hostage take, basically. And you've got the Freedom Caucus. You got Lauren Boebert and Matt Gaetz and all those weirdos. And so what's happening now is both in terms of Biden's the impeachment of Joe Biden, and in terms of this debt ceiling thing, you've got them trying to extract a pound of them trying to get something out of McCarthy too, them trying to get McCarthy to go even harder than he normally would, right? So you got and you know, they're the ones who really don't care if they blow everything up. I mean, McCarthy too, to a certain extent, but the Freedom Caucus is just like unhinged.
Funding request. They asked
unmoored
for money for natural disasters, of course, in Hawaii and Florida and Vermont and other states, as well as $24 billion of military, economic, and humanitarian aid for Ukraine. McCarthy, what he's trying to do basically here is use that as leverage to secure concessions for changes to policies at the U.S.-Mexico border, in addition to try to get more money for border security. The administration asked for $4 billion for border.
So they want to hire more border guards, in addition to the fact that there's a lot that Biden hasn't switched back from Trump's policies.
Security as part of its supplemental funding request, but Republicans obviously don't think that is enough. So Ukraine could be the issue that causes a government shutdown, because the Senate really wants to include Ukraine aid in any stopgap government funding bill. They fully support President Biden's supplemental funding request. Both Schumer and McConnell do. So it's going to be a tough choice for Speaker McCarthy as to whether he's going to include that in the stopgap spending bill. And it comes at the same time that President Zelensky from Ukraine is going to be visiting the Capitol on Thursday of this coming week.
Right. And with all that, Julie Grace, facing threats to his speakership, McCarthy, is actually calling the bluff of his conservative critics. And this week he actually dared his detractors to move a motion to the House floor to oust him. So do you think this threat will, force those hardliners to the negotiating table? Or is McCarthy, at such great risk now of possibly losing his speakership, over this fight, that he would really rather focus on that as opposed to the policies at hand?
Yeah, there was no shortage of tensions this week between Matt Gaetz and Kevin McCarthy. I think the threats that Matt Gaetz and a handful of other conservatives are definitely a real thing for him. And I think the more members I talk to, the more Republicans I'm hearing saying they think that a government shutdown is kind of imminent at this point. There's no way they're going to wrap all of their spending bills, and they've been kind of disappointed with the way things are handled given the deadline coming up. So Kevin McCarthy's, he likes to say, don't underestimate him, we'll figure things out. But conservative demands right now on wanting border security in there and major spending cuts aren't likely to pass the Senate. So there's a lot of hurdles for him to overcome.
Wow. Yeah. And that deadline.
Okay, and kudos to CNN for packaging your actual news in basically a drama piece about Lauren Boebert. Like I said, Boebert's one of the Freedom Caucus, and she's kind of gotten into some trouble this week.
Line is fast approaching. All right, Andrew, I want to shift gears, if we could, to Republican Congresswoman Lauren Boebert, one of those Republican hardliners, who is now center stage for her alleged behavior away from the Capitol. The Colorado representative is now apologizing after video showed her vaping inside a Denver theater during a performance of Beetlejuice, the musical, after she previously denied doing so. So Boebert was, escorted from the theater. There's video of that as well, after patrons complained about vaping, taking pictures, causing a real disturbance. And the Congress.
Okay, and I don't think they're going to show this, right? But the really messed up thing that went on, and understand, this is Beetlejuice the musical. Apparently there was just a ton of kids all over the place. These are the people calling teachers groomers for, not even teaching about LGBT stuff, but even for acknowledging that they have a same-sex partner or something like that, right? This is one of those Freedom Caucus people, right? And she was, they were going at it. We're talking about third base, I guess. Is that called third base? I don't know if it's third base. Third base on him, second base on her. There's a way I can say it.
Is now apologizing for the incident, saying she fell short of her values, telling our affiliate KUSA in a statement Friday, I'm quoting now, whether it was the excitement of seeing a much anticipated production or the natural anxiety of being in a new environment, I genuinely did not recall vaping.
She's singing along. She's like, yeah, Beetlejuice, yeah, come Mr. Tellyman. I don't know,
when I discussed
what else in that,
tonight's events with my campaign team while confirming my enthusiasm for the musical.
He's like,
so she goes on to say, regardless of my belief, it's clear now that was not accurate. It was not my or
you can see people asking her to please
my campaign's intention to mislead, but we do understand the nature of how.
Look, she's taking flash selfies, and so they came and I think they talked to her in the first half of the show, and she said she wouldn't do it anymore, and then the second half of the show starts, and she just starts right up again. Everyone screaming about groomers are now busy defending Lauren Boebert and Russell Brand. True. You're not wrong about that.
Andrew, with that pretty great setup, how might this incident potentially impact her political objectives?
Yeah, giving the one-fingered salute there to the employees of the theater on her way out. So yeah, they came in and they were like, "You're gonna have to leave. You're gonna have to leave." And she's literally tried to like, "Do you know who I am? Do you know who you're messing with? I'm a member of the Freedom Caucus. You can't tell me not to vape and get groped and do some groping myself at a performance of Beetlejuice the musical with kids present. You can't tell me not to do that. Who do you think you are? You don't know who." Yeah, I mean, she would have said it like that, right? That's how she talks. She's like, "I'm Laura Boebert. You can't tell me not to do whatever I want when I'm at Beetlejuice, my very favorite musical. I've got the soundtrack. We listen to it in the car with the kids." And like, I don't know. I'm just like imagining this, like, well, I need to work on my Laura Boebert.
It's certainly difficult, and I think her releasing this very conciliatory statement, profusely apologizing, is a tactical shift for her. She is in the mold of Donald Trump. She doesn't usually apologize for things that she's called out for. In any normal scenario, she would probably be...
There's like a law against never apologize to the mob, as Vosh says.
...slamming the media for covering it in the first place. But she released this lengthy statement that
surprised you didn't say the woke mob.
It's like something you would see from a crisis public relations firm putting out on her behalf. And I think it speaks to the political situation she's in back home in Colorado. Obviously, this last election, she only won her race by around 500 votes. And that was shocking because this is a ruby red district in Colorado. And the Democrats.
I actually didn't know that. For some reason, I thought it was like a 50-50 district because it was in Colorado and because she almost lost. The only reason she likely did that was because, no, there's no denying in the video. You can see her vaping. She denied. She said she tried to say, "It's Beetlejuice the musical, okay? They got all kinds of smoke machines. When Beetlejuice comes out, there's all this smoke. It was the smoke from the smoke machine. I wasn't vaping. I wasn't." And it's like she's right on there vaping. She's taking those. She's taking those big clouds. Look. If you want to I mean, I wonder what she was vaping. Is all I gotta ask, right? Because she seemed pretty. It seemed like maybe more than tobacco. I don't know, Chad. I don't want to speculate. I have no inside knowledge of Laura Boebert and what kind of activities she was getting up to at that there Beetlejuice show. You got the Beetlejuice. He comes out with all the smoke, and it looked like I was vaping, but I wasn't actually vaping. I was holding the vape. But like, what I'm saying is, like, she probably could have gotten away with it if she hadn't been so like flagrant about it. Because like, if you see it, she's blowing huge clouds all across the theater, right? Like, everybody can see you. You're not like, I don't know what she thought. Like, I mean, there are sly ways maybe to vape when you like vape a little bit at a time or something, maybe. But she was like really like stretching her lung capacity.
Democratic candidate was seen as someone who doesn't really have a chance to unseat her. Now Republicans are going to be paying attention to that district, and the Democratic candidate is running again. His name is Adam Frisch. So he's going to have a lot of ammunition to use against her. And I think it's just fascinating that you see one of these more MAGA Republican voices in the party starting to change her tune a little bit when she's facing a difficult reelection potentially.
Mm-hmm. And Julie Grace, as more details emerge about the incident and Boebert's alleged behavior, coming to light, do you think that she will face any reprimand from House leadership?
Doubtful.
Or will this be up to the voters?
I think it'll be up to the voters. I mean, an embarrassing video with the fondling and the vaping there and getting escorted out. I think Kevin McCarthy's got bigger issues with the looming government shutdown and threats from the Freedom Caucus right now. So I think
I mean, it's just embarrassing that she lied so flagrantly.
Their political opponents,
and that she's on such a moral high horse, and yet she's doing this stuff. Prediction: she will not get re-election. I mean, I could be wrong. Red districts are red districts, and sometimes they just don't care about this stuff. But I have a feeling that she might lose this one.
They'll probably kind of use it as a tool to go after her, but I don't really see something like a censure or any other formal disciplinary action being something that leaders are going to be focused on right now.
Okay, yeah, there's a lot on the plate given in the next couple of weeks. All right, Andrew Desiderio, Julie Grace Buffgate, thanks to both of you. Appreciate it.
Okay, and that's going to have to be it for us, unless anybody wants to jump in at the last minute and save us from this. We didn't quite hit the sub goal today, but thank you all for being here. I appreciate you a lot, and this was tough to get through. Not easy stuff to watch. Not easy stuff to deal with, like, you know, the Russel Brand stuff. Like, I shouldn't have done that right off. I thought I was ready for it, and I wasn't. Like, it's just too close to stuff that it's just too real for me sometimes. So but yeah, like it was stuff that I had to cover. Tomorrow we'll cover Hassan, and we'll cover the entire White Leaf Network apparently going after Hassan. Yeah, it looks like I mean, at least maybe they'll leave Jesse Gender alone, right? I don't know if they're going to go after Hassan, but it's over some stuff with Ethan on H3. Ethan apparently, you know, they got to talking about Taiwan, and now you've got Keffel's community calling Hassan a tanky. Unironically calling Hassan a tanky. I don't even know what Vosh has said, but Vosh is in on this soon. By the way, this is Matt Baum that we're rating. I have never seen Matt Baum on Twitch so far. So give them my appreciation. They are an awesome creator who I've actually subbed to on YouTube for a very long time. But you're about to get raided into them. It's your last chance to jump in that raid. Get in that robot, Shenji. Okay, bye.